The alarm's going off, man. Stop hitting snooze. I need you. If you're looking to feel like warm and fuzzy inside, like I'm your guy. So they're in my top 20 EHL teams for sure. There's emotion, there's hatred. This is not like a very friendly series. It's like SpongeBob when he's got like the napkin and like the potato chip. Like that's how I feel. Listen, Colson, I didn't have fun. Everything in my body hurts right now. The team that has the lead in the second period is just not going to win that game. There's no need for air quotes. He's tardy all the time. It's the American thing to do. I was alive, just not buried. No, don't get pucks deep. Hang on to the puck. Pass the puck. Shoot the puck. Are we live? Are we live? We're having a good time. JKP, baby. JKP. Welcome back into the Summer Coaches Series off-season edition of the EHL podcast. We are back in the South Division with Coach Adam Bartholomay of Philadelphia Hockey Club, fresh off their most successful season in the EHL thus far. Coach Bartz, thank you for being here.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for having me.
So obviously that success brought you guys to the postseason and your first postseason win in franchise history at the EHL level against the number one seed in the division, New Jersey Bears. What kind of things came together for your group in that first round of the playoffs?
Honestly, it was a collective group effort. The guys we had in the locker room, fantastic group of young men this year. Probably one of the best locker rooms we've ever had, well, to my knowledge at least. But they didn't want to quit, stop playing. They didn't want to be done. We had a lot of age outs, a lot of 04s that I had a couple years ago at U18s that had gone off and played some games in the NA, had some success in the NCDC, that wanted to come back and kind of make a run out of it. And that's exactly what they did. Joe and myself as a staff, all we were really doing was preparing them day in and day out for that series against the Bears, who, of course, were number one in our division all season long. Jason did a fantastic job the last couple of years there, and I don't expect that to change this year. But the players themselves really came together throughout that whole series and the 87 series as well. Like, we saw that first game, we kind of fell apart, and then we rebounded in the second game, and the third game was a one-goal game for a majority of it. And so I think looking back at those two series, Joe and I really just showed them what those guys were doing, and they came together and did what they had to win hockey games. And my hat's off to them. They went through that whole entire first series like, we're not going home type of thing. So it was my hat's off to those guys. They did a fantastic job.
Absolutely. And I would say that the playoff style is close to their identity in that they're very blue collar, like you said, bouncing back and earning that 3-game series against the eventual champion. So how do you think your team's play style and the way you coach all year round kind of plays into the postseason style of hockey?
I think it benefits us greatly. The way that, I grew up playing was very hard nosed, not typical of California style of hockey. My coaches back in the day were from the Midwest and Russia and some places that you had to play, whether you were 4'8" or you were 6'4", you had to play hard, and if you didn't play hard, you didn't play. And I think with the style of play here, the local kids, the Philly style of being in your face, like being in a playoff, if you're prepared in the playoffs, it's hard to beat a team that's taking it to you every single shift. The way we like to make up our team is we have 4 or 5 lines of guys that will go hard. And my hat's off to guys like Zanaboni at the Seahawks. Our game against them, that first half or whatever it was, he coaches his guys the same way. Maybe we're both cut from the same cloth, but we played together and had some of the same staff and coaches. But going into playoffs, the playoffs is a whole new season. It's not the regular season's the regular season. You have your ups and your downs, but playoffs, that's a whole brand new season in itself, and that's how you have to treat it. And if those 3 to possibly 10 games aren't won, it's over. And for age outs and guys that are looking to better themselves and move on, playoffs is where you can make a name for yourself.
Definitely. And in the South Division as a whole, you guys play obviously the most, within division heavy schedule. So how does the parity that you guys deal with all season long benefit both your team's game and the individual player as they prepare for college hockey?
I mean, every game in the South, whether you're playing the first place team or the last place team, every season that I've been a part of this division, um, is a win or lose game. Everybody, we beat each other up down here. We really do, and I've said it time and time again. Um, every day in practice, every day that they're off, every day that they're in the gym matters. And if you're not going 100%, or whatever it may be every day, yeah, you have an off day here or there, but every single game and every day matters, because if you don't treat it that way, you're not going to make playoffs, and you're not going to be successful, and you're not going to be prepared to go to school and deal with a 25 game schedule where you're in and out of the lineup. And the mental aspect of the game is even more important at that point in time. So I think being in the South, it makes our guys ready, and it's a proven track record from the guys that have been here when JP was around, and um, that those guys are ready. And we've had a lot of guys that have stuck where they are. They're not in transfer portals, which things happen, but they're very prepared, and mentally as well, and physically. Yeah, that's a big aspect of it, but the mental part of the game of being ready and prepared every day, having to go to school again, and being a part of a campus life again, and all that. Like we our players here to be in school while they're here, or have a job. So, their full day isn't just being at the rink; it's and being ready for that. But the South competition, I mean, it's a grind. It's a long grind, even for us coaches.
We'll talk about some of the metrics that you guys have continued to improve on, but one of those is the commitment numbers, which at the time of this recording this are approaching double digits. It will hit double digits for you this season in a tumultuous time of junior hockey. How do you help separate your guys from the pack here with, a flooded market of junior hockey players wanting to commit?
The thing we focus on the most, we meet with our guys, even when I'm recruiting a player. I ask them what their GPA is, their test scores, what they want to get out of being here. And then when they get here, we sit with them, and a lot of kids want to play at the top programs, and sometimes that's not going to happen. And the biggest part for us is finding the right fit for each kid, which takes a lot of time. A kid wants to go to Utica, he wants to go to Hobart, he wants to go to these places that he could probably academically get into, but he's not going to play hockey. So finding that happy medium with each individual player, like, we had players this year that want to go into engineering, and wanted to go to very good academic schools, and had to balance hockey and what they wanted out of life. Because as we all know, all roads lead to men's league. So, it's really kind of breaking it down for each individual player and finding the right fit for that individual, which takes a ton of time sometimes. And you're seeing it now more prevalent that a lot of these kids are going, oh my God, these guys are coming down from Vienna, from, BC, wherever it may be, and it's pushing guys down a little bit, but they're still finding homes in really good places with very good coaches, and schools that have what they want. And that's just kind of how we operate. And if it doesn't fit, and the kid's got to go somewhere else and go find a different avenue, so be it. I mean, it's part of the game right now. So yeah, you could be mad that a kid's not going to go to where you think he should, but in the end, they're going to college to play hockey and be a student athlete. After those 4 years, if they keep playing, great. But after that, I'm hoping they have a degree and they can essentially get a job out of there, and not be knocking on my door to come help us. It's like, I mean, I'd love all the help, but we want them to take their degree and do what they should with it. So that's kind of our process as far as finding homes for these guys.
Definitely. And on the ice, obviously, things were all moving forward for you guys. More goals than last year, get less goals against, more wins. Overall, everything was pretty much better. So what things have you focused on, whether it be on ice, culturally, recruiting to make this trend happen, across the few years here with PHC?
Um, I think we have a tremendous group coming back. The old fives at the end of the year kind of took over that locker room. They took over their play. They took over different roles as far as moving forward. I think the culture in the locker room needs to stay exactly the same. And I think we have the personnel coming back um, that can contribute to that. Joe and myself have kind of come up with some ideas to make it even better as far as that goes. Adding some mentorship programs, getting involved with some youth programs here, and kind of building a true family culture, which is what we've stuck to since one of my captains went to Framingham back in the USP days. But our biggest thing is we want guys to come in here and feel like the rink is somewhere to be, and somewhere as a positive place to be. Whether they're going through family issues or their girlfriend breaks out, whatever it may be, that they can come to the rink, they can drop all the crap off at the front door, come in, put the work in, and be successful. And that's a big part of what we're preaching and trying to bring back in. And I think with our group coming back, we'll have exactly that.
Yeah, we'll get into some of those guys later, as well as some more cultural things. But first, want to get to some guys that are moving on, like Connor Movalli, who was an all-star, obviously scored a huge goal against Elmira, the biggest win in EHL College Series history, 3-2-1 this year. What enabled Connor to kind of be an impact guy in that event, in your opinion?
Connor dedicated himself. When he came back from juniors to 18s, he really wasn't focused on the little things in his game, in his life, off on and off the ice. The last few years here, he's really, and this may attribute to his brother playing professionally and going through the process of juniors, but Connor paid his dues in the gym all summer. He worked very hard. He came in. He really was focused on making a move to get himself into the best possible place that he could play hockey and go to school next year. And he really did that. Talking with Joe and myself and some other guys, and he really mentored, honestly, some younger guys. And he had a great billet family here that supported him through his journey this last year. And I think it all contributed to his success. I mean, if I were to look back at the 18 year when he could put up some goals and have big goals like he did against the coalition in a beast event and stuff like that, like he really honed in on those skills and working towards them and really paying the price off the ice. I think he really focused on what he needed to do, and it got him to the next level, and hopefully he takes that with him to school.
Yeah, absolutely. And another all-star is Cross Sherman, who we all love here at the EHL. We've known him for a long time now. He's been in the league as long as I have, so
Yep.
he'll be, making his commitment decisions soon. We know he's got a lot of options on the table for him. You got to spend a lot of time with him as well. How did you see him grow over your time with Cross?
Oh man, I mean, I think the first year he was here, he was trying to find out where he fit in. We had him and Hanson and a few others in net that year, and I think he was just trying to find out where he fit in and where he belonged. Second year he came in, we had some pretty strong guys in front of him. We had a younger team, so I think mentally he had to help himself in that aspect of things. And then last year he just took it over. He grew as a person and a goalie tremendously, and having Bozak and Joe as assistants and a goalie coach really kind of helped his game. He makes saves that help you win games. He makes saves you don't expect. Like I don't know how many backdoor paddle saves and kicks and glove saves he's made. I'm like I just my hat's off to his work ethic and everything he's done in 3 years here. I'm excited for when he does finally commit here in the next few weeks here. Um, he is, he's cross boss, and he gives you an opportunity to win. That's all you can ask for. And, even talking to Jay and some of the guys within the league, it's like, you know, he makes saves he shouldn't make, and it's just and then he makes the saves he should. He's a very good goalie and he's a very good person. He comes from a great background, and um, we'll be excited to have him commit here shortly.
Yeah, I remember at the college series, not this past season, the season prior, against LVC, he played the first period and he was just dripping in sweat. I mean, that's a testament to his work ethic and goal.
Yeah, he's a workhorse. I mean, and he pays his dues. He became a leader in the locker room too. I mean, he's got everything you can ask for except for being 6'4". That's all that I can knock him on, and honestly, he makes up for it in work ethic. So I will be excited to announce that soon.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And on the returner side of things, a guy that you commended not only for on the ice stuff, but who he is as a person is Jaden Jones, a guy you expect to have a big year next year. What forward steps do you see him taking in his second year with you?
He's gonna be a go. He's towards the end of the year, that kid and that family are amazing. He's sits in my room and we chat for 45 minutes for just talking about life or whatever it may be. Off the ice, he's dedicated himself in the gym. He's at the rink at least 3-4 times a day or a week off the ice in the gym with TA and our trainers. He skates with us twice a week and does some other stuff. Works for Schneider Hockey and does a whole bunch of stuff away from the rink that not a lot of people know or understand. And if he wants to discuss that stuff, he can. But he's a fantastic kid. I look for him to be a leader next year. I look for him to put up really, really strong numbers. And I know he's already got a lot of D3 interest. Towards the end of the year, we had people that are like, where did this kid come from? And he's a homegrown Philly kid that, has really paid his dues. We had to sit with them last year when he was going through his growing pains in junior hockey, and he responded. And I mean, I can't find another kid that can be in the corner and not get the puck taken from him. He is so good along the boards and so good, and he's a big human being. Like, he's a big boy, and him in the corners, you can't get the puck from him. And trust me, we do these drills in our summer skate that guys that are playing already in Division 3, he's just pushing them off and going right to the net. So we'll look for big things from him, and I'm hoping he has a great season.
Definitely. Another guy as well is Hunter Lee on the back end, a guy who had all rookie honors a couple seasons ago. What does, having a guy that mobile and that shifty add to your blue line, especially in a modern area of hockey where do you have to do a little bit of everything?
Oh, it's tremendous. He came to us last year and unfortunately, broke his ankle and had to get a plate put in, and he was out a significant amount of time. We didn't think it was going to be that serious. He played 2 periods for us against the Bears and slid in the boards on some random little thing. But his upside, he's got speed, he's got skill on that back end. Like, there is something there that not a lot of defensemen have. An offensive D man that can also play D is a huge thing for us as far as that goes. And we look forward to him having a great season as long as he doesn't crack a North American League roster, but he's got the skill to do it. So it's a if he does, it's a great thing. If he doesn't, it's a very big bonus for us on our power play, our PK. He'll be a guy that we look forward to put up some great numbers and eventually commit to college and go to where he wants to go.
And you do mention as a whole that you believe that this '05 class is going to be great for you from a cultural standpoint. This past year's team was obviously older. You mentioned, 14 age outs, pretty much all of them moving on to college. So from a cultural standpoint, how do you feel like this group helps set the stage for the future with the organization?
It's going to be great because we still have guys left over like Dennis Malou, who's played years in the DC and guys that have been around with me from 18s. And I think, like I said, towards the end of the year last year, the 05s were really the ones that have taken over. And I heard a cool thing, and I've never actually had this happen, is my previous leadership group called certain guys on my 05 group to tell them to step up and become leaders and keep the culture in the locker room. That just goes to show like how great, the room was and how much these guys cared for each other, cared for the organization, and really became, one group. There wasn't a bad egg in our room. I mean, you have your issues. We're supposed to be brothers, and we're going to fight every once in a while, but it's for a certain reason. And I think, through everything that went on last year, this 05 group coming back, they're going to be something special. You have a lot of talent coming back and a lot of guys. You've got, Finley Lauer, you've got Liam Kanzler, you've got young guys like Ryan Suchi, you've got, Ryan Fleischauer, 06 as well, they've got junior experience as young 06 is coming in. You've got a guy like Sheldon Wilson who had to have ACL surgery and shoulder surgery over, from December on, who's going to return, and he's a goal scorer. So there were some pieces that we didn't have, like Sheldon and Hunter last year, that, if they're still healthy and in the lineup in playoffs, that 87's, that second portion could have changed, and so there's a couple big pieces that we're missing. So I think having those guys back, plus your Joneses of the world and everybody else, you got Jimmy Thorpe and Ewan and those guys coming back, they're good pieces to start with. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely. It should be another exciting year. Hopefully, all steps forward, just like this past season. But one final note we have to get to is the puck to the face game, one of the wildest moments of the season, a comeback win for your team in dramatic fashion. Can you take us through the events of that day from your
No, because I don't remember them. That was a trip. I'm not gonna lie. That's never happened, but it's an ongoing joke now because I've been seeing guys around at combines and all that, and for whatever reason, the puck likes to come my way on the bench. And I don't know if you saw it at our combine. I hid behind the pole at certain times. I don't remember really getting hit in the head, but it was a doozy. I know that Jane Jones caught me so that I didn't fall back and hit my head again. My hat's off to the boys for responding the way they did in that game. Obviously, it was a scary event. No one really knew what was going on when it happened. All you heard was the puck hit the metal pole, and then you saw me fall. And Joe, of course, my assistant, had been in the EHL with John Roger, who had a heart attack on the bench. And so now he had experienced his head coach now getting hit in the head on the bench and getting knocked out. My hat's off to the trainer at the Huntsmen, their facility, their owner. The paramedics and the police were there right away. I think I still owe Walker a Taco Bell quesadilla or something. They messed up the order when he had to drive me home. But it was an experience I don't want to have happen again.
right.
But it's something that we got to be aware of course. And the players responded great. The next time that the puck came on the bench, I was there. They huddled around me like I was the president and saying, "President," it was kind of funny. And they, and then Joe almost got hit with a puck, and they did it to him too. So, that's not an experience that I wish upon anybody. Obviously, there are, things that can happen while getting hit in the head. So, all is good now, hopefully. But yeah, that was an event I don't like to relive.
One last thing. How did you find out the team won?
I was still at the game.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was in the stands, not all there, of course, but I was still in the stands. I had to wait for one of the players to drive me home. The paramedics and the police officer there wouldn't allow me to drive home because technically I was knocked out and unconscious for about a minute or so. So Kyle Walker and another player drove me home, and we stopped at Taco Bell, and they messed up his order. And the rest is history. I couldn't coach for at least 2 or 3 weeks, so Joe had to kind of take over while that was going through its process, and I got to rest, which was quite nice.
Well, yeah, we'll keep our fingers crossed. No pucks come your way next season, but if they do, Jaden Jones will be there again. So
yeah, exactly.
For one more year, I think you'll be safe.
Yeah, I think we'll be good. Just kind of watch the play a little more, and I don't even remember. I may have been even chirping the linesman just as having fun while that was going on, and drawing something on a board for our players. I was looking down, and then all of a sudden I remember the kid shooting the puck, and I just remember trying to turn, and it hit me in the back of the head, and that was all it was.
Oh, all right, yeah, no more of that. No more players on the bench, but yeah. Coach, thank you so much for taking your time. We're always rooting for PHC here, man. A great year, and hopefully another one to come.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the EShow, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network. Learn more about us at easternhockeyleague.org and follow us on all of your favorite social media platforms. Also, be sure to subscribe and get notified when our next podcast episode is released.